Hey, I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co., and this is News and Week in Review, where we're going to dive through a variety of news pieces. We are light on those, so I am filling them out with some Comic-Con news, although some fun things to get through there. We'll also be diving into the Board Game Geek hotness, the games I played, and of course the videos of the week. Links and timestamps to everything down below. We're going to start off with the few pieces of board game news I have before we move into Marvel and other geek adjacent. But we have Storyfold Wildwoods coming to you from Open Owl Studios. We have Storyfold Wildwoods, a new game system from them, an innovative solo experience that I should hopefully know more about after Gencon. By the way, Gencon is this week. No, by the time you watch this, it's currently Gencon. I'm at Gencon right now, apparently. I forgot that timing of this. I'm filming this a bit early, which is also why there's not a lot of news this particular week. We have Barrage Legendary Box. Barrage is coming back to crowdfunding. They had a Barrage with the two-player mode and the two-player map or different things like that, but they now have a Barrage Legendary Box coming with 2 new companies. So if you want to go ahead and check that out from Cranial Creations, there's currently 4,500 people already following the campaign, which makes sense. Barrage is a very, very popular game. And then we have Things and Rings, a designer diary over on Board Game Geek. I have occasionally brought up different designer diaries. I think this one's particularly fascinating, which isn't to say the ones I've shared in the past or in the future aren't, but this might have been one of the more interesting ones that I read, personally. I'm talking about the full life cycle of Things and Rings and development and the original inspiration, which makes sense. The original inspiration, I believe, was Zendo. Zendo from... what do you call it? I can't remember the name of the company, but Zendo. Zendo was the original inspiration. It's a logical deduction puzzle, and it makes complete sense for the deduction of Things and Rings, but Things and Rings is very much its own different beast, a far more accessible one at that. Either way, I highly recommend checking this out if you want to get a little bit of a sense of Peter Hayward's general journey, his journey around Things and Rings. I do think it's a fascinating read. Just read for like a minute and see if you like it, and then keep going if you do. That's kind of all we have as far as the board game news this week. We don't have a lot of new things going on, but we did have San Diego Comic-Con going on last week, and so let's go ahead and dive into some other geek-adjacent news, because there's a lot of Marvel things, and I bet a decent amount of you do have an interest in Marvel. I also bet a decent amount of you already know this news, but we'll dive into it briefly for those who don't. We have the Russo brothers. That was Russo brothers, famous for the Avengers series, for the first 2 Avengers movies. I think it's the first 2, right? They over here, they're coming back. They're coming back to direct the next few Avengers movies as well, or I don't know exactly which ones they are, but the Russo brothers are coming back to direct Avengers. We also have, in arguably bigger news, we have Robert Downey Jr. being revealed as he's going to be playing Doctor Doom. And this, I mean, this technically goes under spoiler category to a degree, but like this news is everywhere. Like it's everywhere, ever. I cannot imagine anyone's going to be watching the Doctor Doom movies and not knowing Robert Downey Jr. is playing Doctor Doom. Although, what if the whole thing's a farce? What if they're revealing he's Doctor Doom to throw us off? Ooh, I wonder. You get to a certain point, like, because to me, I'm almost wondering, why did they reveal this? Like, they have kept lots of secrets in the MCU. Why did they specifically reveal this? But either way, the news is met with a lot of people who are very excited about it, and a lot of people who think it's a cheap ploy to get people in with Robert Downey Jr. You're like, oh, congratulations, it's lazy casting, but you, of course, will sell tickets because of it, which is true. As far as the lazy casting part, there is a rich potential history of the Doctor Doom origin being tied to a different timeline of Robert Downey Jr. They are very similar, they have kind of a similar background, so who's to say whether this goes with the multiverse aspect? By the way, I'm kind of done with the multiverse. I should do a review of Deadpool. I should do a review of Deadpool vs. Wolverine. I probably shouldn't, though. I'd probably lose subscribers. I thought it was a fun movie. No spoilers here, by the way. No spoilers. I thought it was a fun movie, but I did not like the story in any way, shape, or form, and I would argue I walked away from it being very disappointed. I do think it's fun. I think it's very, very fun. I think the jokes are left, right, and center, and I will say a lot of people love that movie. I had so many issues with Deadpool vs. Wolverine. If you want a full review, let me know, and maybe I'll do a video on it. The only problem is there are people on the internet who are better at me than this, who will probably be doing it with all the graphics and animations and who knows what. But if you want a non-spoiler-free review of Deadpool vs. Wolverine, because I can't do it with spoilers, I can't do it without spoilers, let me know in the comments down below, because I want to vent on that movie. I was not impressed. I was impressed with aspects, but either way. Anyways, point is, we'll see over here. We have Doctor Doom being played by Robert Downey Jr. We also have Fantastic Four is coming out with Fantastic Four First Steps is going to be the next Fantastic Four movie. So you can see the various actors already have been announced a while now, but they have Fantastic Four First Steps is going to be a period piece. It's going to be taking place in the 1960s as an origin story to Fantastic Four, which I believe is Marvel's first family. Is it like the first? What was the first Marvel superhero? Was it Fantastic Four? I think it was, but I'm not an expert in this. I kind of peripherally hear or read things and then hold on to that, even if it's not actually true. And we have in non-MCU news, we have what do you hope to see in Vought Rising? Vought Rising is going to be a new spin-off. We already have The Boys, and then we have... what's the other one called? The something 5? We have the other one. We have the offshoot one with All in School. And now we have Vought Rising, a prequel series featuring, what's his name? The character who does Soldier Boy. I can't remember the actor's name, but I really like him as an actor. He's from Supernatural. That's who it's from. But either way, Vought Rising is going to be a prequel story, so you can check that out, because I'll watch anything with the boys. Gen V, that's what it's called. And then we have over here, Invincible is coming out with Season 3 over here. Invincible, they revealed the new blue suit, his darkest, hottest, most intense area, all that. So if you're a fan of Invincible, which I just started rewatching, because I watched Season 1, never watched Season 2. And then we have a new Doctor Who spin-off series coming to Disney+, another kind of prequel, taking place in an origin story in the Doctor Who universe, not really featuring Doctor Who, just kind of taking place in the universe. So it's kind of a peripherally Doctor Who adjacent. And that's what we have for our news pieces. There's a lot more out of Comic-Con. I just chose the things that I thought were most personally interesting. And with that, we're going to go ahead and dive into the Board Game Geek Hotness. The Board Game Geek Hotness, we as usual have a bunch of titles to go through over here. I'll usually pick 4 or 5 to go through and just focus on those as far as why they're in the hotness and interesting things about them. We have River of Gold. This one's going to be coming out shortly. You actually can play it on Board Game Arena right now. It looks like a fun, simple game of placing various buildings along the river, moving your ship along the river, fulfilling contracts. It looks fairly straightforward. It takes place in the Battle of the Five Rings universe in Rokugan. So if you want more games in that universe, first of all, check out Battle for Rokugan. That's a great game. But past that, there's River and Gold if you want something a little less fighting in that universe. We also have, let's see what we have over here. We have a bunch that I want to go through. We have Barrage, which is up there in the news, almost certainly because the Legendary Box has been announced. So that's going to be something bumping that up. We also have Barbarian Kingdoms is rising quickly, by the way. That one is already rising pretty quickly. We have Harmony still in the BG hotness, but we have some games up here I want to go through. We have Speakeasy. Speakeasy is going to be coming to you from, Speakeasy coming to you from Vital Lacerda and Eagle Griffin Games is going to be his next game in that universe. So that's the next Vital Lacerda in case you want to follow along with that and see where that's going. We have Unmatched Adventures, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That one's definitely rising because it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Unmatched, which are both very popular separately and even more popular together. We have The Mandalorian Adventures, which has gotten all the reviews that are coming out this past week. So if you've been missing out on that one, now it's a chance to check out anything from how to plays to gameplays to reviews. Lots of content on Mandalorian Adventures that has finally come out because of the review embargo. And that's basically what we have as far as the Board Game Geek hotness. A lot of things still sticking around. We have Sky Team, it's won the Spiel des Jahres, so that's all there. There was one other I was going to talk about. I feel there's one other thing I was talking about. The Barrage. Oh, I talked about the Barrage Legendary Box twice. That's why. I talked about it already in the news pieces, and then now as well. And that's what we have for the Board Game Geek Hotness, which brings us to the games I played. The games I played the past week, as usual, a small smattering of the various games I played this past week. Starting off with Revive. I got a chance to play Revive again, which I really enjoy, and I haven't played it in several months, so it was nice to table that again. Table is just base game this time, not expansion. Was introducing a new player to the game, but Revive still holds up. I still enjoy it. I think there's a lot of puzzliness of trying to figure out what to do to try to optimize your game. I did actually read in the rulebook. I actually haven't done this yet till now, but you can actually play a 2 or 3 player game. You can play a longer game by just adding the various artifacts from the higher player count, which I probably will do going forward because I like getting more done in that game, and I like playing at a 3-player best personally. And so a 3-player game that goes with a 4-player length, I'm down for that. Gets a little more done. You gets the opportunity to do a little bit more in the game. We have Smitten. I've been playing a lot of Smitten. You'll probably see it in a review at some point, but I'm playing a lot of Smitten. I probably played, 15 to 20 games of Smitten over the past 2 weeks. It's just a game that I finally picked up. I never really played it before. Some Stonemaier games, I never really played it before, but I played it so that I can do a ranking of Stonemaier games, because I've had it for a while, and I want to do a ranking of all the Stonemaier games. It's the only one I hadn't played. And so I played it like a whole bunch. I played 10-15 games solo, 10-15 games 2 players. It is a surprisingly addictive game that doesn't have that much going on with it. I think it's the kind of game I'll play here and there, get a bunch of games in, put it back on my shelf, and then come back, 6 months to a year later and play it a bunch again. It is a surprisingly addictive game that I do recommend checking out if you have a chance. We have Tranquility. I played a few games with Tranquility, which has been a while since I tabled that, which is always nice. That's a nice little solo or cooperative game of trying to, I guess once you're playing games like Smitten, they kind of fall into that same vein. A puzzle you can play either solo or cooperatively, try to figure out how to, get all the cards played in the game. And then lastly, we have Wild West. I'll probably have a review coverage of this one at some point, but I don't know exactly when because I played a friend's copy. I need to get a copy so I can review it, but I did like it enough that I will probably be getting a copy to review. I got 2 games in already, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty straightforward variable scoring polyomino game where you roll dice, claim polyominoes because of those dice, and then try to put them onto your own board to try to accomplish different zones and then shoot various bandits and all these different things going on. I thought it was pretty straightforward and gave you a lot of decision space in the tightly packed game. So that's going to be Wild West. Definitely check that one out, and I hope to have a full review coming at some point once I get a copy, play it a few different times, different player counts and all that, because I only play it 2-player currently, so I need to play it more before I can properly talk about it. From there we have the videos of the week, starting off with this past Saturday. I did a Neopets, or not I did, Meg did a Neopets preview on the channel. This is a sponsored preview of Neopets, the Battledome trading card game. We also had later on Saturday, I had an Army of the Dead review. This review that I did of Army of the Dead. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. It is definitely hard enough and gives some nice new twists to the Zombicide universe that I enjoyed all those things. Ultimately, it is constrained by being a singular core box, whereas normally I'm used to Zombicide being a much larger expandable system, and that will hold it back a little bit for me, but still very solid at what it's doing. On Sunday we had a last Gencon list, so this is the last of 3 Gencon looking forward lists that I did. I did a top 20 games to demo, top 20 games to buy, and then just top 20 games I want to check out in some way, shape, or form or another that had not been on either of the previous 2 lists. On Monday we had a 2-back and not-to-back, going over a bunch of crowdfunding campaigns. We will have another 2-back and not-to-back. No, we will not. No, we will not have another 2-back dog. We'll talk about it later. Anyways, Monday we had 2-back not to back. It was a kind of weak 2-back not to back. It was very short, not a ton of things that was super exciting, but just still an opportunity to go through and catch up on all that. On Tuesday we had a review. Well, that's the order. Tuesday we had a Should You Back It for DC United, going over the last 48 hours or so of the campaign. Your last chance to check it out. Just covering all the various stretch goals, the add-ons, the Should You Back It or Not, will hold its value, all of those things. Talking about it in a dedicated Should You Back video. Later on Tuesday we had a preview, a sponsored preview for Unscrewed, a game that went up in crowdfunding. And then lastly on Tuesday we had a review for Primal the Awakening, which I have been enjoying going through, and I've been taking my time with it because I wanted to properly play it and go through the campaign. And you check out the review. I gave it a 5 out of 5, check out check out the review. I love Primal, big fan of it, and time has done nothing to hurt that game for me. I am just as excited, and I plan on starting a filmed campaign as well, and I'm excited to dive back in. It's a good game system. Anyways, that was Primal. On Wednesday we had a upcoming crowdfunding campaigns, going through a bunch of crowdfunding campaigns for the upcoming month of August. Not a very packed month. I would say the past few months I've felt that everything feels completely packed. June felt packed. July felt packed. August feels light. Now that might open up. It also could be because of Gencon, less crowdfunding news, I don't know for sure. But currently I'll say that August does feel a little light, at least as of right now. On Thursday we had a few videos again. We had a Neopets, we had a Seers Catalog review going up. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I really liked Seers Catalog. It was a great shedding game, a game where you're trying to get rid of your cards, but with some twists to it that made it a little bit more complicated than simply a straight up shedding game. Really liked it, and I recommend checking it out if you have a chance. Later on Thursday we had a gameplay for Neopets Battledome, the trading card game. This is a 2-player gameplay, sponsored gameplay, myself and Meg going head to head. You can go ahead and watch that and see who won. I will say, I did think Neopets was more fun than I expected it to be. I had 0 expectations, so it definitely helps, but it was a fun little trade-off because you have 3 battles in the game, so you're trying to manage your hand and deck, knowing that there are 3 battle systems to go through, so you have to try to plan sequentially around those battles, which really puts you in an interesting spot as far as how you balance investing into a battle you might win, pulling back from the battle, and investing in the future. Very interesting decision space. I'm curious to get into the deck building. It's not a trading card game I'm going to go full on in on because I just can't get behind trading card games. Much as even with things like Star Wars Unlimited or Lorcana, which I kind of want to, I'm holding back from. Give me an LCG or give me a self-contained system. Don't give me a full-on trading card game. But that said, I did like Neopets. And then lastly on Thursday, we had, speaking of LCGs or TCGs, we had a Star Wars Unlimited unboxing of the new set, going through that with my son Yoda, appropriately enough. On Friday we had 10 bad games to play on BGA, or more specifically, I have to figure out the title for this or what the title was, but it's not 10 bad games, it's 10 games that are not great to play on BGA. Play them in person instead. I don't think the BGA implementation is a good indication of how that game feels or plays. Like, these are games that if you played them on Board Game Arena already and you didn't like them and your first experience playing on Board Game Arena, highly recommend checking out other ways to table them, because I don't think Board Game Arena is the best possible presentation for any of these games. Some of them actually, I believe people disagree with. I think there's at least 1 or 2 where a lot of people say they are good versions of the game, and I understand where they're coming from, but I think they might be good versions of the game if you already know the game very well, as opposed to, I think they're very bad ways to play the game if you don't know the game very well, which I don't know if I made as clear in the video at that distinguishing factor, but I think that's a good point that I probably should have made. But hey, you're watching this video, so you get that kind of post-video clarification. Anyways, that's basically the videos of the week, which brings us to today. Today we're going to have a Gnome Hollow gameplay going up, as well as a review for Blueprints of Mad King Ludwig from Bezier Games, the roll and write or flip and write version of Castle of Mad King Ludwig. And then next week we'll have a few things. First of all, we'll have a late pledge video going up on Monday. There's not going to be a 2-back not-to-back because, like I said, Gen Con, I just can't get everything done. But there'll be a late pledge roundup video going through specifically mid-range to smaller range campaigns. None of the giant $1 million campaigns. I think I capped it out. You have to have made 500,000 or less to be eligible for this particular late pledge video, just so we can have a different set of faces to go through this particular month. We also have games leaving the collection. That'll be going up this week. I still owe you a full collection purge, and I still haven't finished. When will I finish? When will I finish moving everything around? Because I have all the shelves. I think at this point it's just an issue of just taking the time to properly organize things, because I do finally have all the Calyxes in my studio set up properly, unless I choose to add more, which is a different story. I think at this point it's just an issue of taking the time to organize it, which I have. I have been finally catching up. I talked about this last week. Last week I talked about how I've been feeling behind, and I've been trying to get ahead, and I'm starting to finally get ahead. I am finally feeling in control of things. I will say with that said, we have Gen Con happening this week, which is pushing me a little bit behind, but at least I'm walking into Gen Con feeling like I am able to be ahead properly enough to be able to get things done. So we'll see. But eventually I'll finish organizing these shelves, and then maybe from there, I'll do a full collection purge video. In any case, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have an excellent week. If you're at Gen Con, I hope you're enjoying yourself. And why are you watching this video? Watch it in a week. Maybe you are watching it in a week, in which case, good job. But in any case, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you have an excellent week. I hope you play a lot of games, spend time with family, with friends, and have an overall excellent weekend. Until next time, I hope you have a good one.